Hello again, everyone. Today I wanted to have a little bit of watercolor play and have you all join me today. So I really wanted to try a variation on these little rainbows here. So I really liked how, so these I should give you the context. So these I made in fodder school, which I'll put a link down below. I've really been enjoying it. It's really been encouraging me to kind of play with materials and do some things that I wouldn't necessarily do. So this was just playing with colors and making rainbows, and I really liked how the colors blended together because they were really wet when I did this. So instead of doing rainbows, I kind of wanted to do some concentric circles using the same kind of idea, but some different colors than what I used here. So what I'm going to use today is some iridescents. I haven't really used a lot of my iridescents, and I wanted to use them more. So I wanted to combine them with some standard paints. So this is a combination of some cheap Chinese brand superior shimmer or iridescent colors, and then up here is some Schmincke iridescent colors, and then down here I have some Daniel Smith iridescent colors. So I'll just kind of, here's my guide. So I'll just kind of think about what I want to use at the time. I'm going to let this be really loose and intuitive. I'm not really going to question too much what color I'm using next, but I will tell you as I'm using them. So these are all my iridescents. I'm going to put those off to the side. I've already put a little bit of water in each of the pans so that they can kind of moisten up. And then this is the watercolor palette that I've had at my desk more recently. I kind of made this fairly recently, and I added a lot of granulating colors. A lot of these are deep light colors, which is a handmade watercolor brand. And I have a few A Gallo handmade watercolors in here. But then I also have an assortment of sort of more standard things. I have some Rembrandt, Jackson's brand, Sennelier, Daniel Smith. It kind of runs the gamut. There's also, I think, one lone Grumbacher color. So I'll let you know what I'm using at the time. But like I said, this is just going to be sort of some general play. I'm going to put those off to the side. And the paper I'm going to be using today is really not a very precious paper. It's just this mixed media paper by Daler Rowney. I've been using it a ton for some mixing studies. And so I'm actually running kind of short on it, but I got these in a recent sale. And I just kind of wanted to go ahead and play with that because it's not too precious, and yet it's thick enough. Even though it's not technically watercolor paper, it is watercolor friendly for sure. So I'm going to put this here. I have limited space, so let me see. I'm going to put these up at the top of my desk here. And off to the side, I have some water and a paper towel. And then I'm going to be using this Raven brush from Jackson's. This is one of my all-time favorite brushes. I fairly recently posted, what excited me about 2021 for watercolors, and I didn't post any brushes with that. But I think maybe that's a little bit of an oversight because I really do like these Jackson brand brushes just generally are really good, but this Raven brush I've really been enjoying. It holds a lot of water, which I think is good for this particular exercise because I want my colors to be kind of wet. And so I'm going to be sort of doing a rainbow concentric circle idea, but I'm not really going to be confining myself to standard rainbow colors. So I'm actually going to start with, I need my little guide here so I know what's in my what's in my pans. So I'm going to be starting with some Daniel Smith Perylene Scarlet and start with the middle there, and then I'm going to rinse that out, make sure my brush is really wet, and I'm not going to take too long because I don't want that to dry. I'm actually going to use a J Blue by Deep Light, and then I'm just going to go right up to it and go around in a circle. That's a really deep red, so it kind of obliterated the blue, but you can see it's actually really creating some interesting granulation here. So I'm going to go with one of my iridescent colors. Let's go with Symphony Blue, which is just from that cheap set here. I'm trying to make these colors pretty wet when I use them, but not crazy wet. I'm gonna actually get some more of that. So there we go. And this is a really good practice to kind of see how things mix with each other as well. I am gonna go with Dusk Pink by Rembrandt. And let's go with one more color for this particular one. Let's go with a yellow. I'm going to go with Grumbacher Cadmium Yellow. Let's see, which is, you know, generally combines with things that are more on the brownish side and or on the yellow side and create brown with this sort of purplish color. But I think that's a really interesting one. So I'm going to keep going. I left some white space in between that wasn't necessarily intentional, but I like the way it looks, so I'm going to leave that. This time I'm going to start with, let's go with Roman Schmal Olive Green in the middle. I'm going to leave myself a little bit more space to try and do a darker one. Let's do a little bit more wet there in the middle. Okay. And I'm going to go with a Rose Red Iridescent from that same cheap watercolor set here. And even though these are already wet a little bit, they're not super wet. So I'm trying to make sure that I keep them somewhat damp. That's a really nice combo. I like that. I'm going to go with a similar color. Let's go with Sennelier Helio Purple, which is a really bright, and I think that needs more water in there. I'm going to add more water. And some colors don't, you know, bleed and mix as much as others, so you're really going to see some differences there. Now I'm going to kind of go with something different. I'm going to go with, what is that? I already did the Jade. Did I do the Jade Blue? I don't think I did Jade Blue last time, or if I did, it was in the middle, so kind of got obliterated. Let's do Jade Blue again here, where it might have a little bit more effect. And as you can see, my circle is turning a little wonky. That's fine. That's all part of the process. Okay, I'm going to go with a Solstice Fern color, which I think I'm going to need to add a little bit more water to because it's not very wet over here. And we've got a lot of mixing going on, which that was the point. I wanted that to happen. I'm going to go with one more color here. Let's go with Grape Myrtle in the Iridescent, which is still part of that cheap set. I may have to dip back in at some point. Yeah, I think I'm going to add some more water, make that really watery. And there we go. Okay, I like that. That's looking good. All right, so let's go with Aztec Gold by Daniel Smith, and make that a little wetter there. Add a little bit more water. Okay. And then I'm going to go with Dusk Yellow by Rembrandt, which is a pretty dark granulating color. Almost looks green more so than yellow. And then I'm going to kind of go in the same vein. I'm going to go with this Schmincke Titanium Gold Ochre, which is sort of an opaque ochre. Okay, that's interesting. I like that. And I made that really wet, and that had a lot of pigment, so that's going all over the place. Let's go with another iridescent. I'm going to go with a blue now. I'm going to go with a Cyan Blue Pearl from Schmincke. And I'm going to need a little bit more water there to kind of loosen that up. And because that ochre is so opaque, it's kind of taking over there. But that's okay. We've got some really interesting things going on. I think what I might do actually is I'm going to go in with, let's do something sort of, okay. So I'm going to go in with this A Gallo Aquamarine. I'm going to go back into the middle so that I can kind of create another circle here. Okay. Let's go with Cadmium Red Scarlet now around the edge. That's another opaque color. I've kind of been liking how the opaque colors, even though they blend, they kind of take over a little bit, which is kind of fun because you can get some really interesting things going on. Okay. And I'm going to go with one more color, and this time I'm going to go with Naples Yellow by Daniel Smith. I'm going to add some more water over there. Like I said, what I really like about this brush is it holds a ton of water. Let's see, okay, so that's kind of drawing the color out to the edge. Oh, that's fun. Okay. So let's see, let's go with, I'm gonna go with something really dark. I'm gonna go with this Rose Ashes by Deep Deep Light. I'm gonna need to add more water again. That's going to go in the middle here. And let's see, I'm going to go with Amethyst Genuine by Daniel Smith. Again, getting it really wet. Okay. Now I'm going to go with Transparent Oxide Brown by Rembrandt. Ooh, that's nice. I like that. And I'm going to go with Zirconium Blue from, oops, looks like I got a little bit of color transfer, but that's okay. Zirconium Blue by A Gallo, which is a very granulating color. So let's see, ooh, that's really creating some nice blending there. Okay, I'm gonna go with Quinacridone Gold by Jackson's, kind of going with the same warm, well, I don't know. We've probably got warm and cool in here, but let's do that. Okay, so that's kind of pushing things back away, which is fun. I need a little bit more of that. All right, and let's do another, let's go with this golden, it says Marnoon, but I don't know what this color actually is, but, oh no, I'm sorry, I'm going into deep green. It was a different color. I'm gonna go around the edge. With that, I don't think we have much more room there, so that's gonna have to be the last layer. Okay, so that's really neat. Okay, I'm gonna do one more over here in this area, although I might do a smaller one too. So I'm gonna start with Red Pearl by Schmincke. So that is an iridescent color. Red Pearl. Let's go a little bigger with the center. And now I'm going to do Ultramarine Blue by Jackson's. Okay, getting kind of a purple there. And then I'm going to go with a color called Juniper Shadow by Deep Deep Light, making it really watery. Okay, I like that. I like how that's going. I think what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to put a dot of yellow in the center there. That's kind of cool. That was Grumbacher's Cadmium Yellow. And I'm going to go into this Sennelier Helio Purple again, because that is super bright and kind of fun as a combo. Okay. And I'm going to go with a color called Harbor Blue by A Gallo. Making that really wet. Need a little more pigment though. Oops, kind of getting wavy there. Let me get some more. Yeah, these have sort of a different effect because they're bigger than the rainbows were that I was making. And you can see this one's kind of completely blended in a very interesting way. Most of these have not stayed concentric. There's been some bleed out, but I like that. I like that effect. Okay, let's go with something else iridescent here. I'm going to go with Fuchsite Genuine from Daniel Smith, which really does need to be wet beforehand before you use it because it gets kind of dry in the pan. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave that as is, and then I'm going to see how many smaller ones I can create here. I'm going to go with a color called Deep Interference Orange. That's this really cheap watercolor, iridescent watercolor. Let's get that in the middle. And I'm going to do another iridescent color. I'm going to do Iridescent Brown from that same Superior company. Okay. And we're kind of obliterating that middle color, but that's okay. That's okay. All right, and now I'm gonna go with, let's go with Cadmium Red Scarlet. That was by Daniel Smith. I am going to go with a kind of lighter color. This is an ultramarine pink, but I can't remember the brand. But it tends to be very, very light in color. Let's see how that goes. Looks like we're radiating out again here. That's okay. This is what we want to test. I think I'm going to add something in the middle there. I'm going to add a ultramarine blue to the middle. I'm gonna go with a English Red by Deep Deep Light, which can be really opaque, but I have a lot of water here. Okay, and I think I'm gonna go with a green. Let's go with Olive Light by Roman Schmal. That is definitely pulling color out. And because it did pull so much color out, I think I'm going to add something in the middle. I'm going to go with this Juniper Shadow color and do that, which is definitely radiating out. Maybe that was, let's move some of that in. I think it's because the paper is buckling a little bit as well. And I'm going to do one more there, even though it's going to be kind of pushing it. Let's do Payne's Gray on the outside, sort of a lighter wash of Payne's Gray. I'm going to add more water to that. Okay, that might have gotten a little muddy there, but I got a little bit of water on my palette there. I'm going to just get that off. All right, let's do a small one with Rembrandt Azo Yellow in the middle. I'm going to do Paraline Scarlet by Daniel Smith. mixed together. I'm going to do more of that zirconium blue, but mostly just because I have some cross-contamination there and I want to get rid of that. All right. I'm going to go with red wine iridescent. Okay, and that I think I'm going to leave, and I'm going to try one more small one here. And then we're going to call it quits. So let's see, let's put something really bold in the middle. I'm going to put Dusk Pink by Rembrandt in the middle. And then I'm going to surround that with Yellow Pearl by Schmincke. That one got kind of dried out. Let me add some more water. Okay. Oh, that's kind of fun just on its own. And, it's really pretty. Maybe I'm going to do one more iridescent. Let's, I'm going to go with Shiny Blue from this cheap brand here. And I think that's all I'm going to do there. I kind of like how it got a little swirl. Very fun. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do today. This one got a little messy. But one of the nice things is I love this bleed effect. And these, what I'll probably do is cut them out and then use them in collage. But I'm really liking the iridescent combination here. Like I said, I don't really use iridescence all that much. Their light fastness is not always that great either, so it's kind of hard to use in art that you plan to like have on the wall or something. But I'll probably use these in collages that I use in sketchbooks. But I'll probably cut these out similar to what I did here. These were a lot of fairly opaque colors, and these were more of a mix of opaque and transparent colors. And you can always go back in and put another layer of watercolor over these if you want some of these to be more refined. I'm fine with this being a messy concentric circle, and same here. But I think these are really fun and a good way to explore color. You can kind of get some color mixing experience with this as well. Just lots of fun there. And like here, I was playing with a lot of granulating colors and a lot of iridescent colors and a lot of opaque colors along with transparent. So it's kind of fun to see how they interact and which ones push and pull, and you get a pretty neat result. All right, well, that's all I had for you today. Feel free to subscribe to keep track of future videos on my channel. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. Let me know if you'd like to see more Paint With Me videos. I've tried this at various times, and generally I haven't gotten much viewership of those videos, so just let me know. I'm willing to try again. I know some people have suggested it, but let me know what you think. All right, well, I hope to see you next time, but in the meantime, have a great day. Thanks so much. Bye.